Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about a very common problem I see with lifters. It's very common among power lifters, actually, believe it or not, and definitely common among more recreational lifters when they get under a heavy squat. And that is being afraid or being anxious at the squat. Now, a lot of you out there hear that and you might laugh and say, well, there's nothing to be afraid of. I don't have that. It's like, well, you're actually abnormal. If you haven't developed any personal strategies to work around that, you probably are slightly abnormal. And it's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of being a weak person or anything else. It's a case of the nature of missing a squat. And anyone who's ever missed a squat oftentimes develops a larger fear of it. And for example, I have one of my clients who's well over a 400-pound squatter, over a 500-pound deadlifter. Uh, Pretty tough guy all around. Like just his personality and his demeanor, he does not come across as a weak person. He doesn't come across in any way as some sort of beta male or anything that people would make fun of um, by any stretch of the imagination. And he trains really hard. Guy's pretty dang strong. Trains his butt off. And he's even admitted to me that, yeah, man, I get a little bit afraid. I'm afraid of the weight. Once he gets over 400 pounds on the bar on the squat, he's admitted, whether it's a back squat, a box squat, he's like, I'm intimidated by the weight. I'm afraid of it. And it's that fear of being stapled. Okay? It's that fear of when you miss a squat. You guys who've ever missed a squat know what I'm talking about. You go down with the weight. The weight takes you to the floor until it hits the safeties. So once you feel that you're starting to miss that squat, at that moment for a brief second, you're praying that you remember to put the safeties high enough. Okay? Because you're going all the way till that bar hits whatever safeties you have in place. That's where you're stopping. Now, in my case, I put the safeties about 3 inches below parallel. Okay? 2 to 3 inches below parallel. And I do that because then I know that I'm safe. I know that there's nothing that's an issue. And I check it and double check it. I have all my racks marked. I know where that point is for setting them. But it's common. It's that fear of when that weight drives you to the floor on a missed squat, it's like a hammer driving a nail into a board. You're just driven into the ground. Okay? And when you hit the bottom, it's like you can't breathe. It knocks your air out. Make you feel trapped because it's different on other lifts. So the bench press, if you're set up correctly, you could technically bounce it to your lap, sit up and stand up and set it on the floor. I've done it before with, close to 300 pounds on camera just to demonstrate how easy it is. Oftentimes you have a spotter. Spotters are almost useless on a squat, by the way. Having a single spotter on a squat is stupid. Like if you don't have side spotters, you shouldn't even have a spotter. It's stupid. They can actually hurt you. Bench, it's easy to get a spotter. Easy to get safeties, and we know on a bench when we're set up correctly, we can just set it on the floor. On a deadlift, you can just turn loose of it. Right? You can just let go of the bar and it hits the ground. It doesn't go with you. Standing press, it just comes back down and hits your chest. You can re-rack it or you can just drop it to the floor. They're all different. With the squat, it takes you with the weight. You go down with the weight and you're under it. And when you're dealing with weights that are, getting within 50 pounds of your true one rep max, it's heavy, right? Because heavy is a relative term. To me, 400 pounds isn't heavy by any stretch of the imagination. You guys see me here squatting 552. See me doing like 437 with chains. You see me doing with really heavy chains, doing over 500 with over 100 pounds of chains. Right? To me, 400 is not heavy. But if your max is 400 or your max is even 415, 420, having 405 on the bar is heavy. Okay? Your max is 365, 350 on the bar. That's a heavy weight. And you start hitting 600 plus, I don't care how strong you are, that's heavy. That's a lot of weight. When you got over 600 on the bar, even if you're a 700-pound squatter, it's a lot. It's enough weight that we start thinking in our heads, this is going to, if this drives me to the ground, this is going to hurt. I could tear something. I could get trapped under the bar, right? That's irrational in most cases, but it's the way the brain works. It's that intimidation. So what happens as a result of that? People use bad form. When they hit a max squat, people sometimes don't have the best control of it because they get psyched up. They get psyched up. You make mistakes. Now watch when I do mine. You guys see me, you notice my knees come in, then I turn the knees out. Okay, right there. I have to be calm to do that. In order to time that external rotation of the hip to speed the weight back up when it slows, I have to be calm. Because if you're excited or panicked, you could miss that. You're going to mistime it. You're excited or panicked, you might unrack and try a weight that isn't tight enough. So here's my strategies. Calm yourself. Don't scream, don't yell. Do not take stems. Do not take a pre-workout before you do heavy squats. By the way, don't do reps with heavy squats. That's another thing that gets people hurt. That's how you get hurt. You don't get hurt on singles. It's rare. Even max singles, it's very rare to get hurt on a squat unless it was a weight that was too heavy for you. Right? It's weight that's too heavy and you're too psychologically aroused. When you're calm, a 1 rep max squat for a single is not going to hurt you. So what do? So guys, don't get too psychologically aroused. Don't be cranking your Slayer way up when you do a max squat. Because either you're strong enough to lift it or you aren't. If you're psyched up, you're going to make mistakes. Double check your safeties. Make sure your safety straps, chains, bars, whatever you're using. And I think straps are better, but I don't have the correct rack to use them. Straps are awesome. Awesome for squatting. But have your safeties in place so that you know in the back of your head there's nothing to worry about. Those safeties are going to catch it. When you hit them, you just crawl out from under it. Double check your safeties. Make sure they're in place. Okay? It's important. You have to approach the bar with confidence. And again, people notice even with the weights I'm using, I'm very calm. A lot of times when I play these clips, the auto zones, you can hear what I'm saying and doing. I'm very calm when I approach that bar. Notice I don't have music in the background. When I do have the audio turned on, I don't have headphones in. You approach that bar calm and confident. When you approach a squat bar, you have to know in your head that it's safe, the safeties are in place. You have to master that weight. And if you're afraid of that weight's going to master you. If you're afraid of it, the weight's going to master you. You have to master that weight. So what you do, you have to approach the bar calm. You have to walk through your visual cues. How am I going to do this? What are my cues? Do I need to keep my chest up? Do I need to turn my knees out? Where do I need to set my pelvis? Right? You need to walk yourself through this process. You need to be calm to do that. You need to be calm to remember to brace. So when you get to the bar, you have to be confident. You have to be calm. You have to be in the right headspace. When you get under that bar and you set it and you unrack it, I can tell you right now, I have known with 100% certainty without fail every single time the second I step unrack it, whether I can make that lift or not. Okay? I know with 100% certainty every single time. Even ones I've missed in comp, I knew I was going to miss that rep when I unracked it. How? Because it feels too heavy on your back. You're not tight enough. So what do you need to do? Approach it. Get under the bar. Sometimes you see me, guys will kind of set it and then do a little bit of a test. And then I'll reset it again. And that one, though, that lift I didn't. Right? You see that lift up there. I believe that's 552. I just was confident. Just knock it out of the hooks and squat it. Right? Okay. Because it felt right. But some of these on my peak sets, you guys will see me, or when I get within 20 pounds of a peak set, what do you see me do? You see me readjust, re-pull in tight again, and then bump it back out of the J-hooks. If you are tight and your upper back is pulled in super tight and the weight feels reasonably light when you unrack it, you know that you're going to get it. Okay? And that should boost your confidence at that point. Back tightness. And if you can't keep your back tight with that weight and it doesn't feel light, it means you're not tight enough. You're not tight enough. And that means you're going to miss the rep if you try that squat. So redrop it back into the J-hooks, reset your back, pull in tighter, and test it again. If it feels tight, you know that you're going to get that lift. Doesn't matter how much weight's on the bar. Doesn't matter if it's a new PR. You're going to get it. But if it feels heavy, if it feels like it's pulling you forward, okay, if it feels like it's pulling you forward, or just way heavier than it should feel, don't attempt it. You're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. So don't bother. Now, doesn't mean you shouldn't occasionally try when you're going for a PR. But you need to be tight. The weight needs to feel light. You have to be confident. You have to walk yourself through that mental process. And if you're anxious or you're afraid of that weight, you're going to predispose yourself to missing it. Okay? You're going to defeat yourself. We cannot be afraid of a heavy squat. If you are screwed. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.